I built this budget gaming PC for $500 over a year ago, and today I wanted to re-benchmark it and see how it's held up. This build has an AMD Ryzen 5 5500 processor, an Intel Arc A580 GPU, 16GB of Team Group's T-Create DDR4 3600MHz memory, and a 512GB NVMe SSD from Clev. I used MSI's MAG 650W bronze-rated power supply to power it, and Zalman's M3 Plus case to house it. Now, I never actually activated a copy of Windows on this build, so the first thing I did before running benchmarks was to grab a Windows 11 CD key, which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, VIP SCD Key. Rather than spending $200 to pick up a Windows 11 CD key, you can just go to vip-scdkey.com and grab a working Windows 11 CD key for $31 before discounts, and you can use my special 25% promotional code to get the price all the way down to just $23. Here's how it works. Simply go to vip-scdkey.com, search for Windows 11 in the search bar, and click on the product page for the Windows version you want. On that product page, click the Buy Now button and create your account. Once your account is created, you'll be taken to the order confirmation page. Locate the promotion code field and type in GU25 and hit apply to get 25% off your order. Hit submit order, enter your payment information, and hit pay now. Then go into your user center, click on My Purchased Orders, click on View Keys/Codes, and copy your Windows 11 key. Then go to your Windows desktop, click the Start button, and hit Settings. In the Settings menu, click on the link that says Activate Now on the notice at the top of the window. Then click on the Change button next to where it says Change Product Key, and paste your code into the product field in the blue box that pops up, hit Next, and then hit Activate. Your PC now has an active copy of Windows 11. VIP SCD Keys offers more than just Windows CD keys though. You can pick up popular games and software at discounted prices, including Microsoft Office 2016, for as low as $30 after applying the 25% off GU25 promotion code. To pick up your own Windows 11 CD key and other discounted software and games, please check out the links in the description below. With Windows activated and all games and drivers updated, I set out to benchmark this system in a handful of titles at 1080p resolution, including in Baldur's Gate 3, Black Myth Wukong, Cyberpunk 2077, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, Metro Exodus, and Starfield. Now, the downside of the Arc A580 when it first launched was its drivers, where there were just some games that it would not play well, especially Starfield. Starfield was basically unplayable on the A580 when I tested it a year ago, so it will be interesting to see if Intel has fixed the performance issues in Starfield and how it holds up in these other games. We'll start the benchmark with Baldur's Gate 3. I tested Baldur's Gate 3 at the Ultra, High, and Medium presets. At the Ultra preset, the game played in the mid 60 frame per second range, averaging 64 frames per second overall, with 1% lows of 38 frames per second. The game played a little better at the High preset, where it achieved a near 70 frame per second average and offered 1% lows of 41 frames per second. And at the Medium preset, the build averaged 77 frames per second, with 1% lows of 43 frames per second. It's important to note that we are seeing a pretty heavy CPU bottleneck in this title, and so the A580 would perform even better in Baldur's Gate 3 if it were paired with a higher end CPU. Unfortunately, as we were working with a tight budget, sacrifices had to be made somewhere, and we opted to put as much of our budget towards the GPU as possible, with the idea that it would give us a decent experience now, and then with a quick CPU upgrade in the future, it could achieve very respectable levels of performance. But overall, even with a substantial CPU bottleneck, the system was still able to run Baldur's Gate 3 on the Ultra preset at an average frame rate of over 60 frames per second. In Black Myth Wukong, I tested the game at the Cinematic, Very High, High, Medium, and Low presets, and I also tested the Cinematic, Very High, and High presets with frame gen turned on. Without frame generation turned on, the game really didn't play comfortably at the Cinematic, Very High, or High presets, where it averaged around 27 frames per second at the Cinematic preset, 30 frames per second at the Very High preset, and 48 frames per second at the High preset. The game was able to maintain a 60 frame per second average at the Medium preset and over 80 frames per second at the Low preset. With frame gen turned on, we got much better performance at the 3 higher settings. However, in my opinion, the game does look noticeably worse using frame gen, and the graphics are grainy. Personally, I think the game looks better at the Medium preset than it does at the Cinematic preset with frame gen turned on. Ultimately though, while this budget system won't be able to run Wukong with ray tracing and maxed out settings, it's still good enough to play the game at medium settings, which I thought was a decent enough experience from a graphics standpoint. In Cyberpunk 2077, I tested the game at the non-ray tracing ultra, high, medium, and low presets. At the ultra preset, the combination of the Ryzen 5 5500 and Arc A580 were able to achieve a near 60 frames per second average, with 1% lows of 37 frames per second. At the high preset, the build averaged 60 frames per second, with 1% lows of 42 frames per second. At the medium preset, the PC played in the upper 60 frame per second range, averaging about 60 frames per second, with 1% lows of 47 frames per second. And at the low preset, the system was able to hit the 70 frame per second mark. Here we see another game where the A580 is being held back quite a bit by the Ryzen 5 5500. But still, the system is able to achieve a 60 frame per second average at the high preset, and I think that should be a good enough frame rate to get an enjoyable experience playing Cyberpunk. In Fortnite, I just tested the system in performance mode, as that is the setting most users will play at regardless of their hardware. The game ran at an average frame rate of about 150 frames per second, with 1% lows of around 90 frames per second. That's good enough performance to play this popular title on a higher refresh rate display for an even smoother experience. As Marvel Rivals is another competitive title that doesn't benefit from being played at higher graphic settings, I also only tested it at settings conducive to performance. Rivals has also added a benchmarking tool that mimics playing a real match. That's going to make our results much more reliable, as the game performs a bit differently depending on the map you're on. Using the benchmark tool at the low preset with upscaling set to performance, the system averaged around 77 frames per second, with 1% lows of 48 frames per second. That probably isn't ideal performance for a serious player, but it's at least good enough to run the game without any problems. In Metro Exodus, I tested the extreme, ultra, and high settings. At the extreme preset, the system averaged right around 40 frames per second, with 1% lows of 26 frames per second. At the ultra preset, the game played much better, averaging nearly 70 frames per second, with 1% lows of 40 frames per second. And at the high preset, the system averaged close to 80 frames per second, with 1% lows of 43 frames per second. So while Metro Exodus is a bit older and no longer a game that represents the latest in graphics technology, it is still a fairly demanding title, and the Arc A580 was able to handle it reasonably well. And finally, I tested the system in Starfield. Again, the last time I tested this build in Starfield, Intel's Arc drivers weren't playing nice with the game, and I could barely run it even at lower settings. However, Intel has clearly fixed the problem, as Starfield is now running much better on the A580. It still couldn't achieve a 60 frame per second average at the ultra and high presets without the aid of frame generation, averaging about 40 frames per second at the ultra preset and 44 frames per second at the high preset. But that's much better than the 10 to 20 FPS average we saw a year ago. However, with the use of frame gen, the game was much more playable, where we saw an average frame rate in the mid-60s at the ultra preset and an average frame rate close to 80 at the high preset. Overall, this $500 system is still a solid budget PC for 1080p gaming. While it's not going to max out newer AAA titles like Black Myth Wukong, even at 1080p resolution, it is still good enough to run those kinds of games at medium-ish settings. And for non-demanding competitive titles like Fortnite, Rocket League, League of Legends, and Valorant, the system will handle them with no problems. The build was CPU bottlenecked in many of these games as well, but it still provided a solid experience in all of the games we tested. I suspect with a modest CPU upgrade to even something like an AMD Ryzen 5 5600 or 5600X, there would be a solid jump in performance in games like Baldur's Gate 3, Cyberpunk, Fortnite, and Marvel Rivals. And a jump to something like the 5700X 3D would likely provide massive returns in those titles. In fact, I may even do a video where I throw a 5700X 3D in this build just to test how much performance there is to be gained by reducing the CPU bottleneck on the A580. Another important thing to point out about this system is that even though it's a year old, due to the current state of the graphics card market, you will be hard-pressed to find a new GPU better than the A580 that fits within a $500 budget. You can still build this system mostly as is, but the Arc A580 is no longer in stock anywhere. And unfortunately right now there just aren't a lot of good graphics card options in the sub $200 price range. The only real sub $200 graphics card alternative to the A580 right now is the RTX 3050. It performs noticeably worse than the A580 in most titles, but if you were looking to build a similar PC to the one in this video, and you wanted to use all new parts, that is the only okay replacement for the A580 at the moment. If you're comfortable with it though, I would definitely recommend that you shop the used market for a GPU, as you'll likely find something much more powerful. In any case though, that does it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.